Hey guys, Robert here, and I have Carrie with me
Carrie,
today.
it's NerdyGirlCreates. What's up, everyone?
And today we're going to be talking about the Wednesday Netflix show and how those who are complaining about it have no reason to complain about it.
No, and I'm usually somebody who would probably side more with them in certain situations.
But
But
not
when
here.
I watched this, yeah, no, this definitely was not, as they would say, quote unquote, woke. I
Right.
can see where they might contrive that, but no, it
Yeah.
was not.
Let's get one thing out of the way though. This is not Tim Burton's Wednesday. They put it on there saying from the imaginations, but he was more in as an executive producer and a director of the first half, but most of
Yes,
it came from Alfred Goh and Miles Millar, aka the guys who created Smallville,
yes,
which might explain the slight CW drama vibe to it, but nowhere near as bad. Because, yeah, Goh and Millar, with Smallville, that was in that CW vibe, but it was a much better, superior show than anything on CW these days.
yeah, because back then it was WB.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got Jenny and Jenna Ortega as Wednesday. Perfect casting.
Yes,
Beyond
yes.
perfect casting. I adored her.
She was so great at keeping that straight faced, no emotion, just
Mostly.
kind of like, except for like her eyes, like when the moment she'd realize she made a mistake or was wrong, like her eyes would kind of like just widen, and you knew she messed up without her ever
Exactly.
actually saying anything.
Yep. We have Gwendolyn Christie, aka Phasma from Star Wars, as Larissa Weems, the principal of the Academy.
Yeah, she was great. I
Um,
I, I liked her because she was one of those characters you're sitting there questioning, is this the person?
yeah, I know. I agree with that. You have Emma Myers as Enid Sinclair, her and Wednesday's roommate, and I gotta say, she was the breakout star of this.
Yeah, she was the bubbly complete opposite of Wednesday.
Exactly. Percy Hines White as Xavier, another student who ends up being part of a love triangle, let's be honest.
Yeah, there was a love triangle.
We have Christina Ricci, who I should point out was not actually the original cast for her role.
Oh, who was? Do we know?
Thora Birch.
Oh, wow.
But unfortunately, she had a family emergency, so she had to leave and they had to recast her. That's why, if you notice in the first couple of episodes, Ricci really stands out.
Yeah.
Did you ever notice that? How she just looks so like, why does it look like she's not
Well,
there really? That's
yeah.
why they had to superimpose her.
You know what was funny though about Ricci in this is they kind of gave her like almost like the nerdy Poison Ivy vibes from that
Hmm.
Batman and Robin movie.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, then we have Catherine Zeta-Jones as Morticia and Louise Guzman as Gomez, who what perfect. We got one who actually I think everyone's so used to Ed Asner or not Ed Asner,
No, no, Aspen.
Austin. Yeah, Aston. And
Yeah.
um and Raul Julia where they're so handsome when it's like, no, they weren't.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? I saw something when like this was first getting cast, and the girl they were interviewing her saying she was like really happy that she got to play a Hispanic character, and people are like, "Oh no, 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 no." I was like, "Her father's name is Gomez."
Yeah,
Raul
exactly.
Julia was of Latin descent.
He didn't show it, but he was.
Yeah. So it
And
was like
yeah,
it's kind of funny. It's like
yep. And now, any of you seen the trailer? And I did a video on it with Bianca before. Basically, Wednesday's been kicked out again. This time for
yeah.
unleashing a bunch of piranhas on people who bullied Pugsley.
As she puts it, only I get to bully Pugsley.
I know. And I thought Pugsley was cute, but let's be honest, no one cares about Pugsley. I hate to say it.
What made me like Pugsley in the movies was his dynamic with Wednesday. She was always
Hmm.
torturing him and trying to kill him, and he just went like, "Okay."
Exactly. And you could tell that was kind of here too,
Yeah.
but
Like
we
when he
didn't
said, "I
see much
missed
of it.
you."
Yep. But and yes, she has psychic powers, which I gotta say, was not as prevalent as I thought it was going to be.
And I think it's because of, the school having
Yes,
so many supernatural characters. They had to have her have some type of, ability to be on par with everybody else.
but even then, it's a more of a hindrance than it is a help.
Yeah, yeah, because she doesn't know how to control it, and she won't go to the person who could probably tell her how to control it for help.
Yeah, and now there has been, and of course, the school. It's been compared to Hogwarts, and it's easy to say why.
You see, everybody says Hogwarts, but you know what I say, and it's because I've been reading it. I feel it's more Strange Academy for Marvel.
That works. That very much works, and I like it. They have the furries, which is the werewolves, um the stoners, which are the gorgons. Which did you see that coming? That's what it meant at first.
No, I was like, "Stoners?" I'm like, "That doesn't fit in with the theme going on here." And
The-
then later on, when
They're
you meet
gorgons.
yeah,
You have the what were the mermaid scales or
sirens.
the sirens, and for the vampires it was
The Fangs?
the
Was it the
fangs or
Fangs?
something like that.
Yeah.
And I like that there's four groups. Of course, and the fact is, there are outcasts and normies, which, let's be honest, has always been an underlying theme of the Adams family.
Yes. Yeah.
Always.
They
And
and they
yeah,
don't care.
exactly. They do not care at all. But the school does care because, well, they have a normie town right nearby.
Who, they get a lot of business from, and they don't wanna destroy
They
that
get the business
relationship.
from, but but the school then is what donates a lot of money to them to help them make them such a still rich town.
Exactly, it's like a two-way street here, it's like
Symbiotic
you both depend
relationship.
on each other. Yeah.
Yep. Also, we have my favorite of the characters, Thing, of course. With an
Thing
interesting
was great in
design.
this.
I liked his design, how he actually looked like a Frankenstein hand. And of course, they asked, like, where's the rest of him? That's one of the most untold mysteries of Adam's Family mysteries. It's like even Wednesday doesn't know.
I love for a character who can't talk, the attitude he had, like, when he was mad at her and he's sitting there with, like, the magazine and he's just flipping it through, and you
I
can
was
tell
like,
he's angry how he's
I
flipping
still
it
love
through.
it. Is that your pet?
Yeah, with the middle finger.
I'm just like, I've seen Thing flip someone off. It's like, of course that's what would do it. Being called a pet, he'd be like, fuck you.
Yeah, and he gets influenced a lot also from the movies too, like, with the whole hand signals trying to, like,
Yep.
communicate to her with the yeah. But
But
when
I
he's
did
sitting
all,
there on the
yeah.
bed
Yep, I know. But I also just again, I seen that clip. I saw that clip when they showed it on YouTube before of the whole her interrogating him, and I'm just like, oh, this is perfect. But I
I
also
also
like,
like
like,
he bonds with her roommate before she even, like
and then she even even says like you should really learn
Yeah.
because he's upset at you, and then she like, okay, I apologize. Let's move. And it's like that's that you didn't apologize at all.
That's where he's flipping the magazine like, "Nope, nope."
Like nope, nope. And finally, she does cave in, and that's the only thing. Wednesday goes through her character growth because I'll be honest, she's probably even worse here than she was in those two movies.
Yeah, and I think and this is what I wanna let people know, this is not a Mary Sue.
Oh no,
She comes into this, like,
she
very
screws
angry
up big time. Things do not
Yeah,
go her way at
and
all.
she causes her own problems with her family too. She kinda
She's
personally
assuming
alienates herself.
she assumes that her parents just want to make her like them when it's far from the truth. And when
Yeah,
you think about it, when you hear that, you're like, that doesn't sound like Morticia and Gomez at all. But
like
of
she
course,
tells her
she's her
mom, "I'm not gonna be a housewife like you."
Morticia, a housewife. I never looked at her like that.
Yeah, I know. And she just looks at her and goes, "Oh, Wednesday, sometimes you get in front of yourself more than others." Like, to
It's
tell
like,
her that you're doing it to yourself more.
now, I will say this. Did I think Guzman as Gomez was perfect? There was some things off about
Mm,
it. There was a little bit off. I wouldn't say it was bad, but I'll be
he
honest, I
was
am so used to
missing
Austin and Julia.
he was missing that charisma that the character's
Yes,
known for having. Like, Julia
exactly.
was great at it because
Oh
Julia was
yeah,
a
but
Broadway
I love it.
actor and
You
everything, and
have Austin as the helpless, well, easily love struck, And then you have Julia as the Latin lover.
Yeah. But he was kinda like he downplayed it more, and he kinda like would
Hmm.
shrug and like, "Oh, I'm sorry, honey."
Hmm.
Where I kinda always feel like he would just challenge that out of her.
Right. Now, if there was one subplot that did feel very CW-esque, almost Riverdale-like, was at first anyway, the mystery that Gomez had murdered someone. You're like, what?
Yeah, but it played
But it
into
got
the
resolved.
overall plot.
Okay, this is going to be a spoiler-filled video, of
Yeah,
course.
okay, I
Basically,
was
we
gonna
find
ask.
out. Yeah, basically we find out one, it was Morticia that did it, and two, the guy that they killed was going to poison the whole school anyway.
And he was gonna die anyhow
Exactly. So
because of the nightshade.
yes. So yeah, it's like, well, that makes much more sense then. But it that was a little bit of a. Like, it's only there to make Wednesday doubt her family more, but also set up the sheriff. After that, then it's like, really? Because
And to set up this awkward therapy scene.
oh, that too. Oh, the therapy stuff. Which I'll be honest, I thought there was something funny about that therapist until,
Yeah.
well, we know what happened.
I
She
I
gets
was with
off.
her. I was with Wednesday.
Yeah, and okay, yeah, that's the other thing. Because of what she did to at her last school with the piranhas, she has mandatory therapy sessions in the next town, which the other town. So
And nobody died from the piranha thing, he just lost a
us,
testicle.
he lost a testicle, and but of course, attempted murder. Oh, like I say, back to Edith. I like how bubbly she is, but in a way that you feel like isn't it supposed to be a school of outcasts? Why is she acting more like a normal girl?
Well, I think it's
No, no,
because
that's how
that
Wednesday's
gets
treating her. Is what I mean.
well, I also think that's because of her own issues with her family, because she
Right.
hasn't wolfed out. So,
Exactly.
she's trying to find her identity because she's thinking, "I'm never going to become a full werewolf."
And she's trying to either figure it. Now she does, but beforehand, she's either thinking like I have to come to grips with that, or I have to still figure out my own way.
Yeah. But I also love that even though she's bubbly and seems a little, like, nervous at times, she is not afraid of Wednesday.
Oh no, not at all. I mean, at first she kind of was. At first, at least when she first met, she was just a bit nervous. But like afterwards, it's like you can keep that up all you want. I ain't going.
Like, when she tells her, "We work as
Hmm.
room," and she's like, "What do you mean we work? We're completely different." She goes, "Yes, exactly. That's why we work."
Exactly, exactly. Now, of course, there are people who are trying to push them shipping stuff, and that doesn't help that the
Ah.
actresses became best friends and they do flirty stuff on social media. That does not help.
No, and there's nothing if you watch the show, there is nothing I would say would be romantic between them, but
I mean,
then
I
again,
could
they
now.
could
I will say this: I could see it possibly blooming. There isn't one of those cases where you could. It's kind of like when I first saw in Legend of Korra with the stuff with Korra and Asami before it went there. I kept thinking like, wouldn't it be nice? But they're not going to go there. Then they did. But it was one of those cases
see,
where
and I
you.
didn't see that.
Well, I'll be honest. I did when I saw it, and I didn't read anything online to influence me. I saw them like, wow, like I was just thinking it, and I kind of get a similar vibe here. It's one of those ones where you could see it, but would you want to is the big thing.
See, and I want Xavier to get redemption for being treated like crap.
Yes, agreed. That's the thing. Oh God, that Polygon article.
Yeah, and that was the thing. If you haven't read the Polygon article, they kind of insinuate that the love triangle isn't worth her time. Half of it, I agree, because when you find out in the end about one
About
of them,
Tyler.
yeah. But Xavier actually comes into this as somebody who she didn't realize knew her prior to being in the school. She saved
Exactly.
his life. He
Exactly. And funny enough, she didn't have a sarcastic quip when he revealed that.
right. And
Normally
he
she would
even
have. She would have been like, oh, I guess
even
that
though
was a mistake.
everybody doesn't accept her in the school, he goes out of his way to save her life when he realizes his roommate's going to do something terrible. She
Yeah.
takes it as being a patriotic what is it? Patriotic. How
Something.
does she
It's been once I saw the first one.
and I was like but he quickly says no, I just wanted to thank you.
Yep,
And
I
then
did.
he
I also like the implication that he used to be a bit on the fatter side. That agrees up
yeah.
puberty. It was like, What happened to you? Well, puberty mostly. I mean, no, between like
So he knows what it's like to feel like on the outside.
in many
And this
ways. Yeah, I mean, he's also
y
a struggling artist, so you have that
yeah,
too.
and he wants to really help her, but she keeps shoving him away and then making accusations against
Now,
him.
to be fair, I would say this: it's clearly for this love triangle. It's more of a case of it going in mostly one direction. I mean, Tyler, let's be honest, was not only neat. She was a means to an end.
Yeah,
He might have felt something, but he clearly faked any reciprocation of it, and even her feeling for him was more hormonal than it was her
yeah.
actually truly falling for him. It's more like, why is my body feeling this way?
And I also think it's all the words people kept saying, putting in her
Yeah,
head to try and you do this, and I think she thought maybe this
exactly.
was the best option. Meanwhile, poor Xavier's over on the sidelines.
Exactly, and but that's what I'm saying though. So it's all moving in one direction of of a triangle where Xavier's falling for her. She is letting her both emotions and hormones get the better of her with Tyler, who doesn't even care, truly care.
Right.
Now,
And
did that surprise you that Tyler was truly that evil? Did you think it was a
well,
case where,
and that's what I liked about how they executed this mystery.
yeah,
There were moments where I was like, okay, it's the shrink, and my brother thought it was Xavier
mm,
because he says really angry and he's all. I was like, no, no, I think
no,
it's
no,
like
why no,
somebody
a
we
guy
didn't
who hates
expect.
being manipulated would never truly be the manipulator, right? If he
Yeah,
hated it that
that's what I
much,
said to him. I said,
yeah,
"I don't think he is. I think it could be like one of the kids you least expect. Like maybe what's his name still around, maybe
a
living
Rowan
good and
or
dying." Yeah, but when they turned it into Tyler, like moments before they revealed it, I went, "Oh crap, is it Tyler?"
which made sense. But then once we found out, and then we found out that Miss oh, Ricci
Forgot Ricci's character.
she was the villain. I'm like, taking what was a previous character cameo and turning it on its head again. It was Laura Birch originally, so it's not like they wrote it with Ricci in mind, but the
Yeah, I
irony
thought
is still hilarious.
yeah, the execution of the mystery was done really well. Like
Yeah,
my brother, who's very picky about stuff like this, was just like, "This show is good. You got to watch it." I didn't
yeah.
even see this coming.
I know. Same here with me. I when I watched it, I did not see the direction it was going coming. I was just like, oh, whoa, because I was confused. But it should have realized, like Xavier said, because his dad's a psychic. It's reacted to your emotion. Don't take him at face value.
And the other thing I liked is, as we were saying earlier, her not being a Mary Sue was her working out things and then suddenly realizing she was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And
Big,
her going, and then the consequences of that wrong, and one of it being Xavier being the major consequence of that
yeah.
wrong.
And I gotta say also, I didn't expect such a high body count of characters that would be established at the beginning. And I mean, Rowan was one thing; he was just in the first episode kill, but then, man,
Yeah. Yeah. And at first I thought the little bee guy was gone for too, but she got to
I
him
know.
just
Oh,
in time.
I gotta say, I love that. Like, this is the first time I've ever had and two girls in my shed. Shocking. That was so weird. I think. Shocking.
I love him. Can you give her this jar of honey? I want to
Like,
move in.
you do realize and there's only a 1% odds of her finding anything appealing about you. That means I
It's
still have a chance. Yes.
yeah. And the fact that he was actually the one that made her, I think, more so than what's her name, open
Um.
up her feelings because he
Yep.
was in a coma. She
Yeah.
would sit
Enid. You
there.
mean Enid, right?
Yeah. He was in a coma and she'd sit there in the hospital and just kind of lay out everything.
Probably because in her eyes, like, he's never gonna wake up, and even if he
Yeah.
does, he's not gonna remember anything I said.
And there's also the guilt.
Oh yeah, the guilt too. Also, oh geez, the other complaint, Bianca. She's not.
A villain.
She's only an antagonist for one episode.
She's the typical popular girl who doesn't like anything different from her. But then you start to find out more about her
Yeah,
too. And that's where I was like when they were going on about, "Oh, they made the non-white girl the villain," and I'm sitting here going,
she's not the
"Did
main
you watch
villain.
it? Did you watch it?"
Again, antagonist for one episode.
Yeah, I mean, and she had, like, a bad breakup with Xavier, which was her own fault.
Oh, big time her own fault because she used her ability to manipulate him to keep him around when they were drifting apart.
Yeah, and but later on, she gets redemption by using it to help Wednesday
Mm-hmm.
interrogate, Tyler until she
Yeah.
realizes how far Wednesday is gonna go with it.
Until then, yeah. Then it's like, Also, I've heard people complain about Fester. I didn't mind him.
He was okay. I think my brother's thing was, like, he likes the Christopher Lloyd version.
But you're not gonna duplicate
No.
that.
He says this one was more like he's like a traveling thief. I was like, "Well,
Which,
he's
yeah,
more than that," but they didn't really show that in this.
I agree with that. But at the same time, though, he, I did like how once they set up that Wednesday learned a lot of stuff from him. What else are you gonna do, right?
Well, even in the movies that was true, like, later on, like, the 2nd movie, they had the
Yeah,
bond.
definitely. But again, I thought it was cute, and I love that smile. Her actually being legitimately happy to see him. I'm like, of course she would.
And that moment they had with Thing
Yep.
getting stabbed, and you
Oh,
see her cry for the first time,
I mean, it's
and
thing
he
after
sees her.
everything she's put him through, after all they've been
Yeah.
through.
Yeah, she made him her henchman after the parents sent him there to spy on her.
Yeah, definitely. I also gotta say, I did not care for how Lurch looked too normal.
Yeah,
I mean, he was
but
only
you
there
know
for
what?
a brief time, but still, it's like,
And I was wondering, so I know it's only 1 season, but we're probably gonna get a 2nd season with the way they set things up. We're probably gonna
yep.
get It, Cousin It at some point.
Oh, especially because they set up, he's also a breakout of that school around with
Yeah.
Morticia.
His what was it? His relative was the one doing the experiments on the hide?
Yeah.
I was kinda worried though when I first started watching the 1st episode that she was gonna be, like, figuring everything out so easily,
No.
I was so happy when he realized, "No, she's wrong. She's not following the right leads because she's being too stubborn
And
to
again,
let
Xavier
Xavier
warned her.
help her." Yeah,
Xavier warned her, saying, "Don't rely on it," but she was relying on it.
and she wouldn't listen to her mother who had experience with the power.
Exactly. I mean, she's nowhere near as perfect as Wednesday is, but she at least has more experience,
Yeah, she was doing the whole typical teenage girl hates her mother thing.
which is fine. Which is fine.
Yeah.
Wednesday's prone to that. It's just, again, the complaints. Okay, what? Let me ask you this: what elements of this would you see as potentially being mistaken for woke?
I think the jokes about woke were like,
Mm-hmm. The
there were
mansplaining.
the mansplaining, what was the one with, the werewolf girl again? Edna?
Oh,
Where they
Enid. Enid.
Enid, when they were doing
Uh,
the canoeing, she said something too.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, after what? But of
Oh, I
course,
forgot.
you're dealing with only one group of guys, so of course she's going to take a bit of
Yeah.
a jab at it.
I saw it more as making fun of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, if I remember right, they made a cancel culture joke.
They were making fun of social media, because remember when
Yeah.
Xavier goes, "Don't you have a phone?" And she goes, "I refuse to be a slave to technology."
Yep. And even he was trying to tell her, we got to get you social media stuff, and
And then she's like, I think she what didn't she call it, like, a toxic, like,
yeah.
hellscape that she
Let's just
wouldn't
be
even indulge
honest.
in?
That is what
Yeah.
Wednesday would do. That's the thing is, Wednesday, based off of the Sonnenfeld movies, would so be like that. She'd be like, I'd rather keep my independence, not try and
Yeah.
bow down to the wills of others.
Yeah, and I said it made fun of it more, in my opinion, and I was like the one part where she was laying in bed after he rescued her from almost getting killed, and she was, accusing him of doing some type of
Well, of course, what are you going to think? And again, I do think I could see Wednesday jumping to that, especially after having a concussion.
but he quickly corrects her and says, I just wanted to thank you."
Exactly.
What was he supposed to do? Stand there and watch it hit her? Because he says that
Exactly.
too.
Yeah. And again, it's like, then, but after that, then she doesn't even, it's not like she holds it over him or anything.
No, no. But I kinda like their dynamic because he
Mm-hmm.
knew her before and still isn't bothered by her, and it bothers what's her name, the siren, Bianca, that
Bianca, yeah,
why are you even interested in her? And then
exactly.
later, that moment when they're both in the, what, dance and her and
Mm-hmm.
Bianca are alone,
Mm-hmm.
you kinda see Bianca finally kinda start to see something in
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday.
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing. Everyone starts to see it
Yeah, there's
now.
total character development in this. I think
Exactly.
every character has a total character development.
Exactly. Now, what would you say were the deaths that you didn't expect? For me, it was well the principal and the therapist.
Yeah, especially that way and that quickly. I thought
Yeah,
there
it's
would be
like
at least a fight.
what?
Yeah, it was like she just stabbed her with the nightshade and injected her. Um,
And then the therapist as well. It's like, wait, seriously?
yeah, like right there in the office in broad daylight, he's in the room.
Exactly. It's just like,
So she must have been treating him at that moment.
yeah, which we knew, which they set up earlier.
Yeah, everybody was seeing her, so that's why it also made you like not really know who it was.
Exactly, but
Xavier was secretly seeing her in the forest.
hmm and I will say it also. I did like when we saw how Wednesday reacted with Crookstone after she saw the horror he did. Even she's shaken. She's like she's never seen that level of evil before. She's seen monsters,
Yeah.
but she's never seen a monster.
Yeah, and I really like the part after she defeats him and
Hmm.
everybody's like, "Where is she?" And she comes out of the mansion and Edna hugs her.
Hmm.
And you know how she's always for the whole
Oh
series
yeah, I
like,
know. Like
"That's
you're not
enough.
a hugger, right?
Yeah, you're not a hugger." At
I love
that
Enid.
moment
Yep.
shows her how scared she was. She hugs her back.
I gotta say, I loved Enid's facial expressions. She really
Yes.
had great facial expressions, like. Mm. Also, I gotta say, the sheriff, I liked how he helped out by the end.
Yeah. Like he
He,
realized who it was.
he realized who it was and even saved Enid.
Yeah. It's and then, they set up that the sun is not exactly gone
Oh yeah,
completely.
he'll be probably back by the end by next one.
Yeah, and they set up a lot. Which was the other thing that I think is great. They set up so much for the next season. Like
But it could end here too if they want it.
they could, but I don't think they will. I think it's going to continue. I mean, you want to know about Xavier's dad,
Exactly. You want
Bianca's
to know about
mother.
him? Yeah, but where do they go, especially once you killed off the principal? What is Morticia gonna fill in? I don't think so. I don't think you'll be able to afford Catherine
No,
Zeta-Jones for that many episodes.
no, they'll bring in somebody else. The
Yeah,
It could be
I'd be
another
Fister.
Adam yeah, it could be another Adam family member.
Yeah,
It
could
could
be
be
it.
it. It could be it.
It could be it. But I guess again, Gwendolyn Christie. People, I don't. I mean, I gotta say, just having her, because especially after her guys getting screwed over as Phasma in those Star Wars movies,
Yeah.
just see her in this, and she's been getting a lot better roles lately. It feels like.
There was one thing though with her I was kinda, like, wanting to know who was the guy she was upset about that Morticia went. Was it Gomez or was it that other
Probably
guy?
Gomez is what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
That would be my guess. Is she was probably upset about Gomez, especially after, because if I recall right, she wasn't in on the truth either, so she probably thought he was a murderer too.
Yeah, because she was there when the body fell.
Yeah. So probably as far as she thinks, he did it. So, but it's like, but why does he? Is he loving? Is she loving him still?
Yeah, and there was a lot of conflict. You could tell she had tension with Morticia, but at the same
Mm,
time, she was still protective of Wednesday.
definitely. Although, even though Wednesday kept pushing to her limit, especially was what how the trouble she was bringing to the school.
Yeah, and again, that's another thing with Wednesday developing from, okay, I keep doing things of my own, but now I'm hurting people, a lot of people in the
Hmm.
process of doing this. And yeah, I'm the one who's wrong.
Exactly. So again, it's not a Mary Sue woke tard.
No.
Nor is it anything anti-black, nor is it pro SJW. I mean, Enid likes a guy, and Wednesday likes a guy. Now,
Yeah.
again, could something happen between these two? Given the chemistry the two actresses have, I can see
Well,
it.
what's his name had 2 moms,
Yeah,
but it
yeah.
wasn't, like, shoved in there like,
Or
"Look,
oh, gee, again,
look."
it reminds me of, for example, in Legion of the DC League of Super Pets,
Okay,
how they had a gay couple right there, but they're just
yeah.
there as like a same sex female couple, and they have one of and one of Crypto's friends is their owner. That's it.
It's not like what is that movie that just flopped from Disney? I don't know
Oh,
anything about the
strange,
plot
strange world or
'cause
something.
all they talked about was first lead gay character. I'm like, "Disney, you do this every time you have a gay character in
Yeah,
your
and it blows up in your face. Look at
But
what
that's all they
happened.
talked about. I
Yep,
said,
look.
"That's great. What's the plot?"
Yep, I know. And look at what happened with Lightyear.
Yeah. That for me, though, was more than really just that. Me was like, "Do we really need this movie?"
Exactly. But like I said though, could they, especially after there's such support, and again the actresses seem to definitely seem encouraging it.
It could because, Xavier did make up with her, but that doesn't mean he might wanna still pursue a romantic relationship because he does I'm sure he still holds some resentment against
Yep.
her for
And even
but
Enid was what's his name? Ajax.
oh, yeah.
Let's be
He
honest. That point when she snapped, I'm like, God, I've been trying to ask you for to go ask me out.
He was oblivious.
Oh, I love it how stoners are basically they act like stoners.
I love that whole thing where she swapped with her to be in that creepy antique store.
Yeah, but again, I just loved again when I said about the facial expressions. I love that about Enid. She's just like, I've been trying to, just the frustration you could see on her face. I think that actress is going to go places. Emma Myers. I think she's going to go places.
I also loved and this is another thing that people might have taken as woke, but I remember this from the, Addams Family movie was when Wednesday was working at Pilgrim World handing out the fudge and going on through the history of
That reminded me of the second movie. And
where
again,
she's at the camp.
yeah. And again, she calls out though, saying you're basically whitewashing what the horrors that were done, and unfortunately, she's right.
And she's talking to a bunch of white people, that was the best part. We're
And
standing
yet,
there going,
who's the head of it? A black
"It's
kid. His own father owns it.
he's the mayor."
The mayor, and then he gets killed.
That
And
one
he's a
that one was surprising.
yeah, and then he was a corrupted cop beforehand.
Yeah. But also the principal reveals she's done some dirty things too to
Yeah,
keep the
no one's
reputation.
perfect. Even if they are, they're
No
all
one.
smiles. That
Yeah.
don't mean jack.
Even the son starts off like a jerk, but then in the second half, he,
Hmm.
redeems himself because
But
he
like I
was
said,
bullying
I
all the
was
kids.
I was just surprised when Tyler revealed that he reveled in all that he did.
Mhm.
I was honestly expecting to be a case where he couldn't control it when it happened.
That's what I was thinking, like, when he was standing there in the police station after they realized it was him, I was thinking she put some type of spell because the way they explained it from the book, I thought he had no choice but to obey her.
Hmm. But then
But
no,
then no, he was liking it.
that's where I'm like, oh shit. Yeah, I
Like
was completely just like, shit.
and meanwhile, Xavier in the cell, that was a great scene too, where he
Oh, it
calls her
was.
out for all her bullshit.
Exactly, exactly. It's just, ah,
It was good. I liked it.
yeah, I definitely did too. So, over now, what would you say about the directing after Tim Burton's 4 episodes?
You kinda did tell a difference from the
Yeah, I
first
think the
4.
angles, the way the camera
Yeah.
moved, and all that, some of them felt safe,
Mhm.
TV
Like
safe.
yeah, like, when you go to the original ones he did, it felt like a Tim Burton movie.
It did.
There was a lot
Nothing
more
against the two other directors. There was two directors doing 2 episodes each after. The fact he did four still surprises me.
yeah, and his tone, the atmosphere is very, like, dark and macabre, but then when you get to the other half, they start to lighten up things in certain scenes and all, so you could see
Yep.
it's a
And
little
again, the
different.
cameras are not as moving around.
Yeah, you don't have, like, that cinematic shot.
Like the cello playing sequence on top of
That was
in front.
great.
I love that. I love the camera pans and everything on that. It's
Yeah.
just, and apparently Ortega actually learned how to do cello and fence.
Oh, nice. Yeah, even the fencing scene where they had the, view from the top and then it would go
Yep.
around as they're going back and forth. But
I
yeah, in
mean,
the
it makes
second
sense
half, I
given
could
her father, given Gomez, but the fact that
yeah.
she lost, I that surprised me that she lost.
I'm kinda glad because she
No, I'm
was
glad
going in there
too,
with this
but
ego that she was better than
oh, as
everybody because of
Bianca put
everything.
it, as Bianca put it, and that blood adds a nice color. Finally, adds some color to that black and
Yeah.
white ensemble or whatever.
But that was the other thing. In the second half, I could see why people would compare it to a CW show because it did feel
A bit more like that, less
film-wise.
cinematic and more television.
Yeah.
But I think thankfully Burton set enough of a tone that it didn't damage it when it swapped over to them.
No. No, it didn't damage it. It
Yeah,
like and I could see people going, "Oh, there was, like, a lot of teen drama." Well, it's set in a high school.
exactly. A private high school, but still.
And it's focusing on a teenager.
And hey,
She's
no one ever complained about Wednesday being a teen and being a teenage goth girl before, because she became after those movies, she became the definitive teenage,
yeah.
goth girl.
Yeah, and this she is a little older than she was, I would say, in the movies, because I think in the movie she was more preteen.
Well, the first one, second one, there was no hiding how much older Christina
Oh,
Ricci
yeah.
got.
Yeah, but I yeah, but I like the fact that she was going through all the same teenage stuff, but her approach to all that was way different than what a normal teenager would deal with it, like the
Oh,
bullying.
definitely. And at least we didn't have anything like in the second movie where she's been told to force, smile and all that. Like, we didn't get
The
anything like that.
the dance sequence, though, was totally Adams.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was that's the thing. And Burton, oh, granted, he didn't direct that one, but still, it was in general. Yeah, he only did up, like I said, the first four. Um,
Yeah. But my other problem was if we go back to Gomez, was like I was saying, he didn't have that charisma. Like when he was sitting in the prison
mm-hmm,
and she went to visit him and she told him, "You taught me to survive in this harsh world." So she's like, "That made you like, I guess, better than average dad or something."
mm-hmm.
And he's just sitting there kind of going, "Oh, my little whatever." And I was
Yeah,
like,
that didn't. Mm,
yeah, it did it like, Gomez didn't feel like Gomez,
not
except
in
for
that
when he
one.
was making moves on
Morticia.
Morticia, yeah. Did
Yeah,
you
they
catch
did.
did you catch Morticia's last name, her maiden name?
Oh, what was it? It was
Trump.
Morticia Trump. Obviously, I don't think that's meant to be a direct connection, but
No, I see, I don't know much about the Addams family outside of the movies and a little bit of the series, so I don't know if that's canon.
let me look.
I was wondering about that. I was like, "That's a weird choice for a maiden name."
Frump. No, it's Frump,
Oh, Frump.
not Trump. Frump.
Okay. It could have been
Mort-
like
the
the,
pronunciation came out. But yeah, it's
well, what they showed it in the yearbook, it could have been like the type of font they were using.
yeah,
I
yeah.
couldn't.
It's with an F. Frump.
Frump. Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, it does. It
I was like,
does.
why would they choose Trump?
Now, also, people gotta remember this: in the original Addams Family, Uncle Fester was actually a great uncle. Was
Hmm.
not Gomez's brother.
Wasn't there also a grandmother? Or am I getting confused with the
Yeah, there was
monstrous?
Grandmama.
Yeah,
There's
that's we haven't
Grandmama.
seen her
She's
yet.
the oldest. Fester is his son, along with it.
Mm.
So, though, and they only had the and Morticia as well. So yeah, Morticia Fester was Morticia's brother. Fester
Oh,
was.
yeah,
Fester was. So they changed it for in the
the movies.
Sonnenfeld movies to be Gomez's instead.
Yeah,
So
yeah, because
yeah,
he's always just Uncle Fester. He never said Uncle Fester Adams.
exactly. But he was always considered part of the Adams because of that.
Yes.
So, but yeah, so now Catherine Zeta chose Morticia. Is she Angela Houston? Hell no, but she adds her own to it.
Yeah, she still has that. She actually adds more of the real sex appeal to it because,
Yeah,
like, The other ones were much more morbid looking, and they were rip off of another actress back in the day
Right.
that worked with Ed Woods. I forgot her name, but
Right. I know what you mean now.
but yeah, I think
I think she's closer to the original Carolyn Jones actress.
yeah, I would agree on that.
Yeah, because again, Angela Houston, she more added this. Well, the equal to, with the Wednesday
Yeah.
more so. That's one thing I noticed. The Seinfeld movie, you definitely see parallels between Wednesday and Morticia.
Hmm.
Here, you see it's more there, but in a way that's like, again, Wednesday doesn't want that, and especially when she
Yeah.
finds out how your mother was into fencing as well. I'm like, oh no.
Well, like the joke, every time she saw her picture somewhere in the school, she goes, "There she is, staring at me, mocking me at
What
every turn."
that is so a Wednesday. That is so a Wednesday line to be like staring at me, mocking at me. That's what I
I
like
think
it.
that would be most teenagers who end up going to a school their parent was very popular at, and they're struggling, and they see their parent's face everywhere.
Exactly. Again, Ortega just really just nailed it on all
Yeah,
fronts.
she kept such a straight face. There were moments of like, "Girl, I would have been busting out laughing."
You have to wonder how many blown takes there probably were.
Yeah, it's true.
I wonder how many times there were kids where she was like, "God,
I I also like the whole dynamic with the werewolf family where the mother
oh yeah."
kept pushing her to
That's
rush her transformation.
the other thing where I could see if they did something with Enid and Wednesday. Because let's be honest, Enid was portrayed, the way her family was, kind of like someone who is wanting to come out
Right.
a little bit. You can't avoid that.
Right, but they wanted her to do it. They were gonna send her to conversion camp and
Yeah, oh, that.
everything.
Once you hear that, you're like, you
I
knew
was
them.
like,
That was probably one of the moments I really cringed at. I'm like, convert.
yeah, but I think it was also more about her developing at her own pace, where the mother was like,
Yes.
"Well, why isn't she already there when her brothers were there way before she was?"
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm gonna get there, just gonna do it. And what I loved is the father was supportive of her.
Hmm. Exactly. Again, and there are families that are like that.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
that's the other thing I like, though. Just this idea of Neverwhere is like, yeah, we're seeing something that's more in the Adams side of the world was something I think we've been long wanting.
Hmm.
Because we've been so used to just the Adams in the normal world. Actually, seeing a place where they went to, where we see other beings from the world that the Adams live in, it's something, again, we've never really seen that really.
No, and the motivation being Morticia wanted her to find people she felt comfortable with.
Exactly. And
The
yeah, to make friends and everything, because
Yeah.
they knew where things were going. She probably would be a serial killer at the rate she was going. Oh, I also love that. Oh, did I hear about your new roommate? She's completely I heard she even ate the flesh off of him. Steps back. There's like,
She
I
goes,
just love,
"I didn't
again,
eat the
heated
flesh off of
smile
him," or
there.
something. She
I love.
corrected him on what really happened.
I know, but I love Edith's smile. She's like, "You're gonna crap yourself." She just moved right out of the way and introduced herself. And when it's just like,
And the complete also the combination of their supernatural abilities and being a teenager playing into their awkwardness, like the kid getting
mhm,
ready to go take Ina to the dance, and he's in the shower and the towel falls down off the mirror and he looks out and he's like, "No."
right,
Things go wrong when you're a teenager.
exactly.
And she was giving him the cold shoulder and trying to make him jealous at the dance, and he's like, "I don't understand why you're not talking to me."
Yeah, 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 definitely, definitely. And also, like I say, it also helps that Ortega's only 20.
Yeah.
And yeah, and by Wednesday 16, I prefer when it's a smaller age gap for an actor playing the character than a big
Oh, you
one.
mean
Unless,
not like in the '90s when they were 30 playing, teenagers on 90210?
I mean, at least Christina Ricci, I mean, there was something she couldn't help with her body by the second movie, but still.
Yeah,
But there was no hiding she had matured between the two movies.
true. Because there was back then, they wait a few years before they did a sequel.
Sometimes, not always.
But no, I think now more they pump them out quicker.
Oh yeah, especially when you have kids.
Yeah.
You gotta make sure we only have a short window.
Or an MCU style universe or something,
Oh yeah,
like, you
well
have to
that's the
keep
other thing
putting
is
it out.
we only have so long until the actor can't do it.
Right.
That's part of the reason why RDJ stepped back because he knew I'm gonna reach that point soon. And seeing him with his shaved head look, I want to see him as Lex.
I know, people were promoting that.
I
I
want to
still
see
vote
him.
Bryan Cranston, but, that's me.
Oh, Cranston would be phenomenal. I still say Cranston should have stuck around in the Godzilla movie. To at least not be killed off midway through that first one.
I know, that was kinda like I sat there with my brother watching that movie going, "Wait, he's dead already?"
I know. It's like, oh, also when I seen the actress doing the therapist, Ricky Lindholm. She's been in
Oh,
so
okay.
much stuff.
Yeah. She always plays, like, that bubbly blonde who's
Exactly.
always
And but you know she was also Poison Ivy and the Wicked Witch of the West and Lego Batman.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, the Wicked Witch, I'm like, oh wow, she did a good job there.
I also
But
like that you start to get, like, some insight on Tyler through Xavier.
oh yeah.
At first you think he's just being jealous, but then you realize Tyler did some shit to him.
Yep. And wait, wasn't there who was that other guy at the coffee place? The one who kept on trying to warn him about her about Tyler?
Um, I thought it was Xavier. No, it wasn't Xavier. Xavier
No,
was the one who said,
it
"You
wasn't
don't
Xavier.
really
Maybe
know
it
him."
was. It's
And
just
then
seeing him
later
in
at the
that outfit.
dance,
Seeing him in that one
yeah,
outfit's what threw me because he was in the
yeah, because he
coffee
got
outfit.
stuck volunteering there,
Right. That's what threw me off. I thought it was a different kid
and
because he didn't look like himself there.
yeah, he was in the coffee costume, and he was like, "You don't know what he." And then later at the dance, he tells her exactly what happened.
Right, right. Oh, by the way, Percy Hines, why? Yeah, he's been in a couple of things as well. Not a lot, but
He was in The
th-
Gifted.
yeah, he was in The Gifted. He's been in Between A Christmas Horror Story.
But I remember him from Gifted. That's why I kept when I was watching the show, I was like, he is so familiar. Where have I seen him before? And then I realized he was one of the twins.
Right, but yeah, I mean, like I say, Rowan, he at least had a good impression when we first saw him.
My brother
It
felt like
just,
he was set up to be the anti Harry Potter.
but then he got killed off.
Yeah.
Well, he got killed off, but then the fact that once we find out nobody was believing her.
Right.
And like I said, I did like the idea that Weems was a shapeshifter.
Yeah.
Although the fact that no way did Singh even consider like kid went in, another person came out, but the stuff was left behind. I mean, obviously
I
Singh's
would
not going
say
to consider that.
Thing was such a badass, and I love when he was taking on the sirens under the water.
Oh, I love that whole boat
Whoosh.
thing. All right, but I think there's not much more I can bring up about this. I think
Yeah.
we've enough. But yeah, guys, we both highly recommend you go out and
Yes.
see it. There's still a lot of stuff we didn't talk about that will still make it worthwhile to watch. Go out, see it. If you have Netflix, watch it. Wait if it goes on home video if it ever does. But I recommend getting it for at least a month and so you can check it out.
Yeah. You could binge watch it.
Oh yeah, it's only 8 episodes. That's like
But
so
unlike
yeah,
Disney Plus, they fill out the episodes.
definitely. So yeah, Carrie, thank you for joining me. I keep on looking the
No
wrong direction,
problem.
like whoop.
That's okay.
But yeah, yep. Thank you for joining me, and we'll see
No
you all
problem.
on the next one. Take
Bye,
care.
guys.